The world is reeling in shock after an explosive incident on the set of Love and Hip Hop that no one saw coming. Mendeecees, known for his calm demeanor and family-focused image, has allegedly crossed a line that has left fans and family members questioning everything. A heated argument between him and Rashida, already on the edge, erupted into a shocking moment of violence when Mendeecees, in a fit of rage, slapped Rashida right there on set. According to inside sources, the confrontation was triggered by a long-standing issue that finally reached its breaking point. As the cameras rolled, accusations flew, and emotions ran high. But no one expected things to escalate to this level, especially with the camera crew capturing every moment. Fans are left wondering, was this a momentary lapse of control or something much deeper in their troubled relationship? Rashida, visibly shaken, took to social media to reveal the truth behind the shocking moment, sending the internet into a frenzy. With the family divided and emotions running wild, the question remains, what happens next for Mendeecees and Rasheeda? And is this the end of their marriage? Stay tuned for the full story that's turning heads and breaking hearts. The atmosphere on the set of Love and Hip Hop was thick with tension, a tension that had been brewing quietly for weeks, but finally exploded in the most unexpected way. Crew members whispered behind the scenes, feeling the weight of the growing friction between Mendeecees and Rasheeda. No one anticipated what would happen next, but the signs were all there if you looked closely enough. It all began during a group scene meant to highlight unity and forgiveness among the cast, but instead it turned into one of the most chaotic moments the franchise has ever witnessed. Cameras were rolling, lights were blinding, and the air was charged with energy when Mendeecees walked onto the set, visibly irritated. Rashida, already frustrated over recent rumors surrounding her relationship with Kirk, didn't take kindly to Mendeecees' dismissive attitude. The two locked eyes, and you could practically hear the tension crackling like static between them. It started with snide remarks. Rashida accused Mendeecees of talking behind her back, alleging that he was the one feeding blogs false stories about her marriage. Mendeecees, caught off guard, immediately fired back, denying any involvement and calling her out for dragging his name into mess he claimed he had nothing to do with. Their voices grew louder, cutting through the silence of the set like sharp blades. The rest of the cast watched in shock, unsure whether to intervene or let the storm pass on its own. Security began inching closer, sensing things were escalating quickly. "You think you know everything, Rashida," Mendeecees barked, his face twisted with frustration. "You don't know the half of what's really going on." Rashida stood firm, arms crossed, her voice unwavering. "Then tell me, Mendeecees. Tell me why I keep hearing your name every time someone brings up the drama in my life. Is that just a coincidence?" Mendeecees stepped closer, clearly feeling cornered. "Maybe you should look at the man you sleep next to before pointing fingers at me," he snapped, referencing Kirk with a venom that made everyone gasp. That comment lit the fuse. Rashida stepped forward, jabbing a finger toward his chest. "You don't talk about my husband like that. I don't care what you think you know," she shouted, her voice shaking with fury. The argument spiraled out of control. Both were yelling now, voices overlapping, tempers flaring. Suddenly, in a moment that stunned everyone into silence, Mendeecees raised his hand and slapped Rashida. The sound echoed across the set, and everything froze. Gasps filled the air as Rashida stumbled backward, clutching her face in shock. Production halted immediately. The cameras cut. Security rushed in. Chaos erupted. Rashida didn't speak at first. She just looked at him, tears welling up in her eyes, not from pain, but from betrayal. She had never expected this from Mendeecees, someone she had known for years, someone who had always been intense but never violent. The rest of the cast swarmed around her while security escorted Mendeecees off set, his face still burning with anger and disbelief at what he had just done. He kept shouting that she pushed him too far, that she kept pressing buttons no one should press. But it didn't matter. The damage was done. Word spread like wildfire. Within minutes, crew members who had witnessed the altercation began texting others, and the story reached social media before production could issue any sort of statement. Fans were outraged. Hashtags began trending almost instantly. Hashtag Justice for Rashida, hashtag Mendeecees out, and hashtag La Drama flooded Twitter. People demanded accountability. Viewers who had followed the show for years couldn't believe what they were hearing. Many were shocked that a moment of such violence could unfold between two of the most well-known cast members. The internet was divided. Some fans expressed heartbreak, siding fully with Rashida and calling for Mendeecees to be removed from the show. Others, while not defending his actions, argued that the full story needed to come out before rushing to judgment. Rashida broke her silence hours later. In a now-deleted Instagram Live, she appeared shaken but composed. Her eyes were puffy and her voice was hoarse, but she felt it was important to speak directly to her fans. "I never thought I'd have to say this," she began, tears slipping down her cheeks. "But today something happened on set that crossed every line. I was confronted. I was hurt, and I'm still processing everything. I just need a moment to breathe." She didn't name Mendeecees directly in the video, but she didn't have to. Everyone already knew. The clip was screen recorded and reposted across all major platforms before she could delete it. Within minutes, millions had seen it. Torn, part of her wanted to take the high road, keep things private, and walk away with dignity. But another part of her, the hurt part, wanted justice, and she knew the world was watching. Inside her circle, the reactions were mixed. Some friends urged her to speak up, to take Mendeecees to court and set an example that no one, not even a fellow cast member, could get away with this. Others worried that dragging things out publicly could hurt her brand, especially since she and Kirk had only just started rebuilding their image. But Rashida wasn't thinking about branding. She was thinking about how someone she once called a friend could raise his hand to her, on camera, in front of everyone. Her trust had been shattered. Mendeecees, on the other hand, wasn't hiding. He was spotted leaving the set later that evening, walking quickly with his hoodie pulled up and his security close behind. According to one witness, he looked furious, more angry than ashamed. When asked by paparazzi if he had anything to say to Rashida, he reportedly just shook his head and muttered, "They'll hear my side soon enough." Later that night, a mysterious post appeared on his Instagram story. It read, "Everyone got a breaking point. Don't poke the bear, then cry victim." It was up for only a few minutes before being deleted, but the damage was already done. Screenshots spread like wildfire, and the backlash hit hard. Fans flooded his comments, accusing him of gaslighting, of deflecting, of refusing to take responsibility. Back at the network, executives held a crisis meeting with legal advisors and public relations consultants. They were fully aware of how bad this could get. If Rashida chose to file a police report, they'd be caught in the middle of a legal nightmare. They discussed suspending Mendeecees, editing the footage out of the season entirely, or even canceling upcoming episodes until further notice. But there was a dilemma. The cameras had captured everything. The entire altercation was on tape. And while it was ugly, it was also undeniably explosive television. Some decision-makers saw an opportunity to turn the scandal into ratings gold. Others urged restraint, fearing major backlash from sponsors and activist groups. After hours of debate, they reached a temporary decision. Production would pause for 72 hours, and no official footage would be released until legal matters were clarified. Meanwhile, other cast members began reacting publicly. Yandy Smith, Mendeecees' wife, posted a cryptic video on her Instagram Reels that showed her lighting a sage bundle and walking through her home. The caption simply said, "Cleansing my space. Negativity gotta go." Fans instantly interpreted it as her way of distancing herself from her husband's actions. But behind the scenes, sources revealed that Yandy was furious, not just at Mendeecees for his behavior, but also at the potential impact it could have on their family and her own public image. She hadn't spoken to him since the incident. When he tried calling her, she reportedly let it go to voicemail. Their marriage, already strained by past controversies, was now hanging by a thread. Elsewhere, Kirk was working behind the scenes to support Rashida while managing his own rage. Insiders say he made multiple calls to the show's producers, demanding that Mendeecees be permanently removed from the series. He also allegedly contacted his lawyer to discuss legal options if the network failed to act. Kirk wasn't playing games. He was ready to go public if necessary, and he wasn't going to let this slide. While Kirk and Rashida had faced their fair share of marital problems, this was different. This was about safety, about respect, and about making sure nothing like this ever happened again. As the internet continued to erupt with opinions and speculation, Rashida's closest friend and business partner, Kelsey, finally addressed the situation in an emotional Instagram Live. What happened on that set was unacceptable. I've known Rashida for over a decade. She's strong, she's kind, and she did not deserve what happened to her. People always see the glamour, the fashion, the music, but they don't see the pain that comes with this industry. Enough is enough. The live stream was viewed by hundreds of thousands of fans, many of whom left comments filled with support and heartbreak. Paparazzi then caught footage of Mendeecees the next morning at an Atlanta restaurant, sitting with a man who appeared to be a crisis manager. They looked tense, with laptops and folders spread across the table. Mendeecees kept glancing over his shoulder, clearly uneasy. One witness claimed they overheard fragments of conversation, something about issuing a statement, doing damage control, maybe even recording a private apology. Later that day, Mendeecees' official page released a text post that read, "In moments of anger, we sometimes act in ways that are not reflective of who we truly are. I regret how things unfolded, and I want to apologize to everyone affected by this situation, especially Rashida." But fans weren't buying it. The comments were brutal. Thousands of people called it too little, too late. Others accused him of only apologizing because of public pressure. Some demanded he be banned from all future filming. Even more fans started tagging the network and sponsors, pushing for a boycott if immediate action wasn't taken. The hashtag cancel Mendeecees trended for hours. People had seen enough. By the second night, Rashida still hadn't posted anything new. Those close to her said she was struggling, torn between staying quiet or going back on live to give her full version of events. Kirk continued to stand beside her, even canceling upcoming appearances to be with her. Production offered to resume filming without Mendeecees, but Rashida hadn't agreed yet. She wanted assurances, protection, and she wanted a statement from the network, not just a vague response, but a real commitment to accountability. And then, late that night, something unexpected happened. A leaked audio clip surfaced online. In the clip, believed to be from shortly after the incident, Mendeecees could be heard yelling at a producer, "She set me up. They all set me up. They've been plotting this for weeks. I told you I didn't feel safe around her, and nobody listened." The clip sent shockwaves through the fandom. Some began wondering if Mendeecees had been manipulated into exploding. Others believed it was just an excuse. The debate raged on. Whatever the truth was, one thing was certain: love and hip-hop would never be the same again. As the leaked audio clip continued to make its rounds, the internet practically imploded. Fans dissected every word, every breath, every pause in Mendeecees' voice. Some pointed out the desperation in his tone, saying it didn't sound like someone trying to justify violence. It sounded like someone genuinely spiraling. Others were less sympathetic, arguing that no matter what the circumstances were, there was no excuse for putting hands on a woman, especially not in front of an entire production team. The divide in public opinion grew deeper by the hour, and the fandom found itself at war. The show's producers, now caught in a moral and financial crossfire, were scrambling to control the narrative. They were terrified the scandal would tank the rest of the season. One insider revealed that the network was considering releasing a heavily edited teaser clip to show context without fully revealing the slap. They thought maybe if fans saw the entire buildup, the shouting, the insults, the chaos, they might at least understand what led to the explosion. But that plan was quickly shot down. Executives feared that showing even a portion of the altercation would be seen as exploitative. At the same time, Another option was quietly being discussed behind closed doors, offering Rashida and Kirk a private settlement to quietly walk away from the show and sign a non-disclosure agreement. But Rashida wasn't having any of it. According to a close friend, she felt insulted by the offer. She said, "They want me to disappear. They want to pay me to be quiet? Nah, not this time." Those words were reportedly shared in a private group chat with other cast members, several of whom were stunned by her boldness. One person in that group allegedly leaked the message to a popular blog, and within minutes, screenshots were everywhere. Fans rallied behind her. Hashtags like #StandWithRashida and #ProtectBlackWoman began trending, while others shared clips from past seasons where Rashida stood up for other cast members in times of crisis. It was clear she wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. She had become a symbol of resistance against toxicity in reality TV. But while Rashida was emerging as a powerful voice in the scandal, Mendeecees was sinking deeper into isolation. Insiders revealed he had been removed from several group chats involving cast members, and that many of his co-stars had stopped replying to his messages. Even his longtime allies were going radio silent. The betrayal cut deep for him. He felt abandoned, cornered, and misunderstood. Sources close to him say he started considering quitting the show entirely. "I don't even care about the cameras anymore," he was overheard telling a friend. "This isn't worth my peace." What made things even worse was that his family had now been pulled into the drama. His teenage son, who was already navigating public scrutiny because of his father's fame, was reportedly bullied at school over the incident. The boy came home one day in tears, asking, "Why did Dad hit her?" Everyone's talking about it. That moment reportedly shattered Mendeecees. He hadn't anticipated the ripple effect. Hurting Rashida had unintentionally hurt his son, his wife, and his reputation, all in a matter of days. Guilt began to settle in, slowly replacing the anger. Meanwhile, Yandy was still avoiding him. She had taken the kids to her mother's house, refusing to speak to Mendeecees until he had done some real soul-searching. One of her close friends said Yandy had cried for hours, not because she was embarrassed, but because she didn't recognize the man her husband had become. He used to be the guy who protected women, she allegedly told her inner circle. Now he's the headline of a scandal I want nothing to do with. As all this unfolded, Rashida finally went live. The world stopped. Over 200,000 people tuned in within the first 5 minutes. The comments flooded in so fast the screen froze. Her face was tired, eyes puffy from days of crying, but her voice was steady. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She just spoke her truth. "I didn't think I'd be doing this today," she began. "But I've seen everything. The posts, the lies, the rumors, and I think y'all deserve to hear from me directly." She paused, then continued. "That day on set, it wasn't supposed to go like that. Yes, we were arguing. Yes, things got heated. But never in a million years did I think it would turn physical. And when it did, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I felt humiliated. Not just because of what he did, but because nobody stopped it. Nobody jumped in." She paused again, taking a breath. "I ain't here to bash nobody. I'm not here to drag Mendeecees through the mud. I'm just here to say, what happened to me should never happen to anyone. And I won't stay silent about it." She ended the live after 10 powerful minutes. No filters, no music, no theatrics, just her voice, raw and unfiltered. The internet exploded. Celebrities from all industries reposted the live. Taraji P. Henson, Megan Good, even Cardi B dropped comments of support. "We got your back, Queen," one of them wrote. Even those who weren't fans of the show were now talking about it. But not everyone was on Rashida's side. A surprising twist came when a new account claiming to be a former crew member of the show posted a thread alleging that Rashida had pushed Mendeecees' buttons on purpose. The account claimed she had been taunting him all day, bringing up personal issues, and even dared him to do something about it. The thread went viral, gaining thousands of likes and sparking heated debates. Was this an attempt to smear Rashida's image, or was there truth to it? Opinions were split. Kirk, furious at the insinuation, released a rare statement through his lawyer. "Let's be absolutely clear, no one deserves to be hit, under any circumstance. Rashida has always conducted herself with professionalism, even when provoked. We will not tolerate any false narratives designed to excuse unacceptable behavior." The statement only added fuel to the fire. Now, it wasn't just about what happened. It was about who was telling the truth. Different media outlets began picking sides. Some blogs defended Rashida fiercely, while others suggested there might be more to the story. Speculation turned into obsession. People started digging through old episodes, looking for any tension between the two that might suggest a deeper grudge. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get messier, a bombshell dropped. A voice note, allegedly from Yandy to her best friend, leaked. In the clip, Yandy could be heard saying, "Honestly, I warned him. I told him Rashida was gonna try him. I told him this show is full of setups and he needed to keep his cool. But he didn't listen. Now look." The leak sent shockwaves through the fandom. People were confused. Was Yandy blaming Rashida, or was she just venting her frustrations over her husband's downfall? The clip painted her in a new light. Some saw her as cold and calculating, others as simply overwhelmed and caught between loyalty to her husband and the truth. The drama had now reached a fever pitch. Both camps had their supporters. The internet was divided. And the show, once considered just another reality series, had become the center of national attention. Talk shows debated it. Podcasts dissected it. Twitter Spaces ran non-stop discussions for days. But behind all the headlines, Rashida was just trying to breathe. Rashida barely left her house. The blinds stayed drawn. Her phone was on silent. She told close friends she didn't feel like herself anymore. Not because she was afraid, but because she was exhausted. The internet had turned her trauma into entertainment. Every podcast, every gossip page, every talk show had her name in their mouths. Even though the support was overwhelming, it also made it impossible for her to move on. Every new opinion dragged her right back to that moment on set. The slap, the silence that followed, the disbelief in everyone's eyes. It haunted her like a loop that wouldn't stop playing. Her mom came over daily to make sure she was eating. Kirk, despite all their previous problems, had taken on the role of protector. He wasn't letting anyone get too close to her without permission. Even people from their inner circle were being held at arm's length. Kirk told them plainly, if you didn't stand up for her in that moment, don't act like family now. Those words cut deep, especially for a few castmates who had tried to reach out. Some were genuinely apologetic, but the damage had already been done. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was trying to disappear. He wasn't showing up to filming, wasn't answering producers, and had deactivated his social media. He was reportedly staying at a friend's cabin upstate, away from cameras, noise, and people. A source who managed to speak to him said he wasn't doing well. The regret had sunk in, but it was twisted with confusion. He reportedly kept asking, why did it even get that far? Why didn't anyone stop me? It wasn't that he was trying to escape blame. He just couldn't process the version of himself that acted out of rage. The version that everyone now saw him as. Yandy, still reeling from the backlash of her leaked voice note, had gone quiet. She released a short video saying, "I was venting to a friend. It was never meant to be public. I do not condone what happened, and I stand with all women who have been hurt, even when the person who hurt them is someone I love." But the video did little to heal the damage. Fans accused her of trying to play both sides. Some even questioned whether she'd been trying to protect the show more than the people involved. Amid all the chaos, production had halted filming. The network released a vague statement about prioritizing the safety and well-being of the cast and promised a full investigation, but most people saw through it. Fans called them out for only reacting once the footage leaked, not when the incident actually happened. Former cast members even began speaking out. One woman, who left the show 3 seasons ago, revealed that toxic situations were always swept under the rug as long as it made good tea. She didn't name names, but everyone knew what she meant. And then, out of nowhere, a new video surfaced. It wasn't the slap. It wasn't even from the set. It was footage from a private gathering that had taken place weeks before the incident. In it, Mendeecees and Rasheeda could be seen arguing. It started as a discussion about contracts, but quickly turned personal. Rashida accused him of being fake, of only acting loyal to Yandy when the cameras were rolling. Mendeecees fired back, saying she had no room to talk with all her marital scandals. Someone in the background laughed, which only escalated things. Rashida could be heard yelling, "Don't ever disrespect me like that again." And Mendeecees, with a smirk, responded, "Or what?" The video reignited the internet. Was this proof that the slap had been building up over time? Or was it just another heated moment between reality stars who were used to performing for attention? The lines between real and fake blurred even more. And then came another twist, one that no one saw coming. A legal notice. Rashida had filed a restraining order against Mendeecees. The news broke on a Friday night and sent shockwaves through both the cast and the fans. The document cited physical aggression, emotional distress, and a continued pattern of intimidation. It wasn't just about the slap. According to the paperwork, there had been multiple incidents off-camera where Mendeecees allegedly tried to confront Rashida about her behavior, and each time, it got more intense. One claim said he showed up unannounced at her boutique demanding a conversation. Another claimed he messaged Kirk privately trying to set things straight, but the tone was reportedly threatening. Mendeecees' team immediately denied all allegations, calling the restraining order a strategic move to paint him as a monster. They claimed he had no intention of seeing or contacting Rashida again, and accused her of using the legal system to gain public sympathy. But the restraining order stood, and with that, the possibility of reconciliation, or even a civil conversation, vanished. Kirk, now officially involved through the legal filings, broke his silence again. This time, in a pre-recorded interview. "I'm not perfect," he said. "Everyone knows our history. But one thing I've never done is lay hands on my wife. No matter how mad we got, no matter how deep the hurt went. And I'll be damned if I let someone else get away with it." The interview quickly went viral. Kirk, often criticized for his past actions, was now being praised for standing firm. Fans said it was the most mature and grounded he'd ever been. Others joked that it took someone else hitting Rashida for Kirk to finally value her publicly. But the jokes didn't last long. The situation was too serious, especially when reports began surfacing that Mendeecees might be facing criminal charges. The production crew had been subpoenaed. Every person on set the day of the incident had to give a statement. Cameras were being reviewed. Footage that wasn't meant for the show, like behind-the-scenes moments, unused angles, and even audio from off-screen arguments, was now evidence. The district attorney's office confirmed they were reviewing a case involving two public figures tied to a recent physical altercation. While they didn't name names, everyone knew what they were referring to. The energy around the cast shifted. It wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was a legal mess. People began distancing themselves from Mendeecees. Guest stars refused to return. Brand sponsors quietly pulled back their deals. Even fan pages dedicated to him began deleting old posts. He was becoming a liability. Meanwhile, Rashida's brand was thriving. Her boutique saw a surge in online orders. Her social media engagement tripled. Brands began offering partnerships. One company even approached her about launching a self-defense product line aimed at empowering women. She hadn't responded yet. She wasn't sure if she wanted to build a brand off pain. But the opportunity was there, and people were ready to support her. What complicated everything further was a rumored settlement offer from the network. Sources claimed the network wanted to pay both Rashida and Mendeecees to return for a reunion-style episode where the incident would be addressed once and for all. The idea was met with instant backlash. Fans said it was exploitative and disgusting. "This isn't a storyline," one tweet read. "This is trauma." Even cast members were divided. Some saw it as a chance to provide closure. Others thought it was just another cash grab. As the dust barely began to settle, a quiet rumor started circulating. a rumor that Mendeecees was considering leaving the country. Not to run from charges, but to escape the chaos. An anonymous source close to his family said he was eyeing a long stay in Jamaica, away from paparazzi, press, and social media. He wanted to rebuild himself far from the spotlight. Whether that was true or not, it sparked debate. Some said he was avoiding accountability. Others said he was doing what any broken man would do, trying to heal. But for Rashida, the healing hadn't started yet. The tension in the room was suffocating. Mendeecees stood there, his body rigid, eyes burning with frustration. The slap had been a response to the cutting words from Rashida, but even he knew it had crossed a line. The way the camera crew had suddenly stilled, the collective intake of breath from everyone present, told him everything he needed to know. This wasn't just another reality TV moment. This was real, raw, and it was unfolding in front of millions of people. Rashida, equally stunned, stood motionless for a second. Her hand slowly rose to her cheek where Mendeecees' slap had landed. The pain was evident, but it wasn't just physical. There was an emotional weight behind it. This wasn't the first time they'd clashed. The argument had been brewing for days, weeks even. But this was different. She took a step back, her eyes narrowed in disbelief. "So that's how it is?" She spat, her voice quivering with anger. "You think you can just slap me like that and get away with it? You think you can control me, manipulate me, and make me look like the villain?" Mendeecees tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. Everything he had ever feared, his worst nightmare, was happening in real time. He had become the villain in this story, the one people would point fingers at. And he knew it. "You can't just do that," Rashida continued, her voice shaking with emotion. "Not to me. Not in front of everyone. Not when I've done everything to keep us together." Her words stung, and Mendeecees felt the weight of every accusation. They weren't just fighting for the show anymore. This wasn't about ratings or drama. It was about the years of tension they had both ignored, the unresolved issues that had been buried under the surface. But now, with the slap, everything had come to light. Mendeecees tried to explain himself, but the damage had already been done. His words fell flat as he struggled to find a way to justify his actions. "I didn't mean it like that, Rashida," he said, his voice low and filled with regret. "But you pushed me too far." "I pushed you too far," she repeated, incredulity lacing her words. "You think I pushed you to this?" "No, Mendeecees, you made that choice. You slapped me because you thought you could. You thought you could get away with it." The crew, sensing the escalating drama, quickly pulled out their phones, documenting everything as it unfolded. Whispers spread among the onlookers, but no one dared step in. It was too intense, too raw. This was their moment, their chance to capture the kind of viral content that would make headlines. But at what cost? Rashida, not waiting for any kind of apology, turned and stormed out of the room. Her heels clicked loudly on the floor as she made her exit, but Mendeecees couldn't bring himself to stop her. Part of him knew it was too late for words. The damage had been done, and it couldn't be undone. As Rashida walked off set, she pulled out her phone, tapping furiously at the screen as she went live on Instagram. Her face was flushed with anger, but there was a pain there too, a raw vulnerability that she couldn't hide. "Y'all need to hear this," she said, voice trembling with a mixture of fury and disbelief. "Mendeecees put his hands on me tonight, in front of everybody, and now the whole world is gonna know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it didn't happen. It did. And I'm not going to let him get away with it." The live stream was a bombshell. Fans flooded the chat with messages, many of them in shock, others in outrage. Comments poured in. "He's a monster. Team Rashida all the way. What is wrong with him?" But even as she spoke, Rashida's hands shook. This wasn't just about the slap anymore. It was about the years of being silenced, the years of being the strong one in the relationship, the one who had to carry the weight of everything. And now the world knew the truth. Mendeecees watched the live stream from backstage, the weight of it sinking in. The slap had done more than just humiliate Rashida. It had exposed him for who he really was. His hands trembled as he stared at his phone, unable to look away from the screen. The fans were already tearing him apart. Social media was ablaze with reactions, some calling for his head, others questioning Rashida's version of events. But there was no denying it. The truth was out. The producers quickly intervened, pulling Mendeecees aside and urging him to lay low. Security was called, but there was no immediate danger. This wasn't a physical altercation that required intervention. It was the kind of spectacle that could shake the foundation of their show. It was the kind of drama that would keep viewers coming back, but at what cost to the cast and crew? Back in the makeup room, Rashida was visibly shaken, though she kept her composure. Yandy, Mendeecees' wife, had already posted a cryptic message online. There's more to the story. People love to judge without knowing the truth. The comments were swift and brutal. Many accused her of defending the indefensible. The network issued a vague statement, promising an investigation into the incident. Meanwhile, Rashida had already made her decision. She wasn't going to let this slide. She was going to speak her truth, even if it cost her everything. Hours later, reports surfaced that the producers were scrambling to rewrite the narrative. The show, once again, had become a vehicle for drama, but this time it wasn't just for ratings. This was personal. As the night wore on, the internet exploded. Clips of Rashida's live video were being shared across every platform, and Mendeecees' name was trending for all the wrong reasons. Fans were torn between the two, but one thing was clear. This was only the beginning. The next day, Mendeecees released a brief statement of his own. "I'm sorry for what happened last night. I'm working on myself and I'm going to make things right. But it was too little, too late. The damage was done. The story had already taken a life of its own." What do you think, fam? Was Mendeecees' outburst justified, or did he cross the line? How do you feel about Rashida speaking out and taking a stand? Let us know in the comments below. We want to hear your thoughts on this explosive situation. Don't forget to hit that like button if you think justice needs to be served, and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest developments in this story. We've got more shocking updates and behind-the-scenes drama coming your way. Make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Also, if you're as shocked as we are by what happened, share this video with your friends and get the conversation going. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Stay tuned.